Okay.
Meeting called to order. Let's do Brian first. Let's move him up, see how he's here.
Okay.
Yes?
Yes. So I asked Brian to come in. We got back most of the responses for the pressure sewer system for Pandora, Ashcroft, Pike, and how many are we still waiting on?
Well, I did only Ashcroft Circle and Ashcroft Terrace,
Okay.
because the other ones had already petitioned.
Yeah.
I have 17 yeses, 2 nos, and 1 no opinion out of 33, so we have 20 in out of 33 as of today's mail.
So there's a total of what, 66 homes? Is that right?
63,
Yeah,
I wanna say.
63?
Yeah, in that range, it's
Okay.
just above 60.
Yeah. So it's a majority of the people who would like it? That's good.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I think some of the discussion that we've had is what we're gonna include, what we weren't gonna include, how the project would proceed, and the cost associated with it.
Okay.
Whether or not we, there's a variety of ways of going about it, I guess. Whether or not, you know, the forced sewer main is one thing. E1 pumps are equivalent, whether or not we include it in the project outside, or,
I think that's one of the major questions, if you are going for, low pressure sewers on this, whether or not you include the work on the private property
yeah.
within the contract.
My fear would, my only fear that I have is that some people would arbitrarily like to build their own.
Yeah.
We've heard some of that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that inherently could be a problem with a small forced sewer main such as that one. When the rep was in, he actually made a suggestion that may work, or maybe even better, whether or not we just provide them pricing for a period of time, whether it be 1, 2, or 3 years, and they would be able to access that unit on their own.
Yeah, I think it takes away a lot of concerns. It takes away a lot of concerns about work on private property, if there's
Exactly.
potentially problems that happen in there.
Sure.
Associated with low pressure sewers is where you put the pump and where you have to come out of the house on it.
Yep.
From a design point of view, it gets pretty detailed where we're going into every house and looking around and determining the proper locations to exit.
Sure.
So if the work was confined to the right of way, I think it'd be a quicker, viable, project to get out on the streets and get it available for the homeowners to start tying into it.
Yeah.
We've never, to my knowledge, done a sewer job where we've taken the sewage to the property. We've only gone to the line, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's
It's atypical.
yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, specifically the pressure sewer system.
Right.
This would probably be the largest one that would be in town.
Yeah, and I think the idea of allowing the homeowners to have kind of a group rate for a set number of years through, suppliers on that, really takes advantage. Because the one thing you really want to do is you don't want the homeowners to have to go out there on their own, buy their own
Exactly.
separate pump on it, because they're gonna be paying the full load of that. If you can come in and say to, the suppliers, we could possibly get 50 or 60 pumps on it, you should be able to get a reduction in price for the homeowners on that.
Yeah. And he said that's kind of what he indicated to us.
Yeah.
They
That's
hold
why
the
I've heard
price
it.
for so many years. But,
Yeah.
It has to be, I would still think, competitively priced.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't, from what we've seen, there's not a huge difference in those package systems cost from manufacturer to manufacturer. I think one of the issues that may come into this is somebody's gonna wanna they got a chance that they have a septic tank, that they know somebody, they could drop it in, put a pump in there, they could do it, on the cheap, try to get, and still have a viable system for it, but they may be able to make up their own components on that. And it'll be up to them to make sure that it works within the system.
That's my big concern.
Yeah.
A big concern if someone goes in, decides they're gonna buy a pump, put it in there, and it's not the right pump, and now that whatever he did affects the rest of the forced sewer main, that'll be installed for the rest of the people.
Yeah, it won't affect the other force main. It'll affect his ability to get the sewer out into the force main on it. there's back valves, there's check valves on that system, it's a closed system on it. The key is getting the flow into the system and onward, but there's certainly, that's an unusual situation, but, through 60 people, you may get one or two that might try to wanna do something like that.
We have one that's already expressed a concern that that's what he wants to
He
do.
wants to do that,
He
yeah,
does.
yeah.
But I mean, listening to the guy from E1 talk about his pumps and how efficient they are and how they grind up and, less likely to be a problem.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So that,
But that's a good point, you did bring up with the grinding of the materials and how it gets
Absolutely.
into the system on
Yeah.
that to reduce the solids. There is a possibility of a concern with that, yeah.
because not only he may get it out his pipe, but it may not get down the,
That's true, that's true.
Consistency throughout is the best.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
exactly, it's kinda like we've been wrestling with, but not being responsible for, being on the property and doing that, so I,
You guys have the ability with sewer connections.
Sewer
Oh, yeah.
regulations, sewer
on
regulations
what
require
takes
the
place
technical-
going into the system
Yeah.
on that. You can spec that out, you could, within your rules and regulations, allow certain pumps, certain equipment, that type of thing, certain size pumps, the manufacturers, whoever.
Sure.
But, you can contain that to a certain degree. I think the last job, we did a small one for you on Main Street a couple of
Right,
years
yeah.
ago, and that's, we
Exactly.
just put it in the roadway on it, and I don't know how that worked out with people tying in down there, but, if you had any,
How many
We,
Chinese-
we had a mix,
you had a mix?
yeah, I mean, the majority, went to an E1 type system,
Yeah,
self-contained,
yeah.
pump chamber with everything,
I mean,
all
that's
the bells and
true.
whistles. What's that?
exterior to the house or in the house?
Both exterior and interior. So we had some interior applications and we had an exterior application, so, and this is a much larger project, so I would agree that, consistency is really what you're shooting for.
Yeah,
So if we spec it that way, then,
Right.
I mean, spec that way, and like Tom said, I don't think we wanna be in that type of a sewer business, but
Yeah.
we could actually even, obtain one and keep it for a homeowner and keep it
Yep.
on site that they could have someone install, and E1's got quite a program, I guess, that they'll come out and take it and.
they're very good,
So,
they're very good.
I'm not even opposed to going that far with it, but,
Yeah, absolutely, I think it's just Pandora's box when you get on private property,
Yes. sure.
no pun intended.
Yeah,
You're right, I got it.
Pandora, yeah.
Alright,
Okay,
So what you're thinking of moving forward with, you're waiting for more results coming back in, right?
Well, it sounds like we have a majority at this point, right?
We
So
have
is it-
20 out of 33 that I sent out
okay.
since the last meeting.
so the numbers that we looked at, you proposed are good,
Yeah,
okay,
and I think from our point of view with our numbers, if we're keeping the work within the right of way, I think we can reduce our cost a little bit on it
Okay.
from our design
Mhm.
Good,
on it, so, I think that should help out with the project too.
Yeah. Okay, so that includes, that number included all the engineering cost, it was.
The only thing we didn't include was construction phase services on that, we took it right up to the bidding.
Okay.
on it.
So
We
you did no inspection?
we can certainly count, I didn't put it in there because we weren't quite sure whether it was gonna be just a pipe in the ground project or pipe and pumps and all that.
Sure, no, I
Our
understand.
costs would dramatically rise if you're doing that work off-site
Sure,
with the pumps.
would you like a special services done on the force main?
I don't see why not, I mean, that's what we've done every other project, so.
Past, yeah.
Yeah, and I think we can work with you.
Yeah, like
you
we've
know,
done.
In the past, we can maybe do a part-time on
Yeah.
it,
Yeah.
something, a certain X number of hours a week
Mhm.
on it, just to try to make sure won't be able to see everything he does, but make sure he's going down the right road here.
Yeah.
With it,
Similar to the last job,
Okay.
could probably good.
so the idea would be to possibly get a package out for the springtime, is that?
I would say,
Okay.
sure.
Yeah, cause we have to get it for town meeting vote.
Yeah, we have to
Yeah.
get it for town meeting vote, and I think we need to get, everybody, all the residents together and let them know what our thought process is and what the associated costs are gonna be, including pumps, and then obviously however we decide to do it. We, most of the stuff we talked about E1 with was external to the home. We, we talked about E1 with was external to the home, and then, obviously, however we decide to do it. We, we talked most of the stuff we talked about E1 with was external to the home. We, we talked most of the stuff we talked about E1 with was external to the home. I would assume that their internal system is just as good. If people wanted to go that way, they could have an option.
Yeah, I think so. It's a matter of doing work within someone's
Yeah.
footprint foundation, yeah.
Yeah.
The systems work pretty good, but there are some drawbacks to them, I think, and that is, number one, if you have to service it, you're in somebody's basement.
Yeah.
You're pulling things apart. I think my personal opinion and experience is the outside chambers are the best.
That would be our recommendation.
Yeah, it would be
We
mine,
would try to
so
go to the outdoor
absolutely.
ones,
Okay.
yeah, just for a variety of reasons, for
Yeah.
maintenance being the main one on it,
Sure.
okay, so what we would look to do is fine tune the cost with you
Yep.
over the course of the next couple of weeks on this.
Yeah, because we really wanna make sure that the betterment price that we're
Is
putting out there is,
And it's all
Good one.
inclusive, so
Okay,
including the special services, bid package, you know what I mean? Everything,
Mhm.
soup to nuts.
okay, alright, we can do that. Okay. Got it,
Beautiful.
alright,
Sounds like a plan.
thank you for
Thank
your
you
time.
very
Thank
much.
you.
while I got you here,
Yeah.
just a little bit on the Governor's Road project.
Yeah.
Put you on the spot.
Yeah, no, that's
We
okay.
talked a little bit about, the work that the highway department's gonna do up there, with the upgrade on the drainage,
Mhm.
and redoing that road. And it looks like, that work may not be going out to bid. So if we wanna do any water and sewer upgrades, we would have to front that ourselves, right?
Yeah, my understanding of it right now, the highway department's looking to do that internally, do the work. We're preparing, plans for them, plan a profile, for the drainage installation and then what we're gonna do with the pavement out there. So that's where we are currently. Now looking to bid it. If you guys are interested in upgrading water and sewer out there, I would either talk to Bob and combine a project.
Mhm.
It's a public bid that has all the work in it. Or you guys go out to bid prior to him doing the roadway work out there,
Are you gonna do a curb to curb?
curb to curb, yeah, it's gonna be a pavement reclamation, they're gonna break it up and put a new 4-inch mat, 3.5 inch I think over.
So the paving will be going, he'll be dealing with that like he would with any
Yeah,
projects in the town.
yeah,
The drainage is gonna do it
Right.
in-house. And I think we come up with 200 and 400,000, I think.
I think for water, it's about
Yeah, water
2,000
was-
feet long.
Water was like 400 and sewer was 200. There's only a couple houses that don't have sewer, I think, on that street. There's not
Yeah.
that many.
400, is it 2,000, it must be more than 2,000 feet. I think it was, I can't remember, to be
can't
honest with you.
either. And that was the numbers that we,
Yeah, if you and I were talking about it, it's probably in that range, might be a little bit less, I tend to be a little conservative in
Yeah.
those types of numbers, so. But I think it's something, to absolutely talk with Bob about it, see what he wants to do, maybe an opportunity here for everyone to try to
Sure.
work together, it'd be a big project and you'd get some serious contractors, bidding on that, because you're probably, between Bob and this, we're getting high with the number, it's hundreds of thousands, we're probably just under $1 million for all the work. on it.
Really? Including sewer and water or not?
Yeah, I think including sewer and water and a roadway and the
we're
drainage,
looking at 600 just in sewer and water.
yeah.
How many houses?
Off the top, as far as water, I don't know. I didn't even look at them all, to be honest with you. The sewer, I was more of a concern because it would be a betterment. I thought, because it won't fly unless
Yep.
it's done with a betterment, and it looked like it might not work, because I don't think there were that many homes left there.
No, there's not, there's the houses are spaced quite, if I'm gonna guess, I'm gonna say 10 houses out there on the entire stretch, something like that, maybe.
That might be tight,
Yeah, yeah.
because Highland was,
I'll go back tomorrow morning, I'll take a look at it, we
Alright.
should talk tomorrow. We
Okay.
can
Okay, see what it
find
is.
some numbers for you on that too, just to make sure we're all on the same page.
okay,
So, in the meantime, I'll be in touch with you about Pandora,
great.
okay?
Sounds like a
Very
plan.
good.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Have a nice holiday.
Yep, you too.
Okay, updates regarding Mr. Angelini.
This is in regards to the gravel removal and the access in and out, a license versus a actual easement, right, Patty?
Correct.
That we're talking about?
Yeah.
I think that was what it was from the get-go, to be honest with you. So Zachary Path wouldn't be pinned down as the exact location for a right-of-way. That it was, at that point, if you had a license, they just guaranteed it, you know, an exit strategy, and it could be moved if it had to.
Yep, and I think he's looking to go and apply that also to Dewhurst Street and address it that way with a license.
I'm okay. I mean, when I talked to him, he said he'd give us permission, not for construction, but if a well, in fact, ended up at the end of Dewhurst Street, that he'd give us permission to go up through there. Now, it's not carved in stone because it's not in black and white, but
Well, that's what they were thinking about doing, was actually having it licensed.
have they talked to Bill about that?
Yeah,
And he was,
I believe he was okay with it.
okay. Yeah, it's a better idea than permission.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's
as
a-
long as you agree to it, that's what we have to let the board of selectmen
Okay.
know.
Okay. Yeah, I
You
mean,
wanna make a motion or,
make a motion that we accept the terms in the, is it terms of the gravel permit or the PNS?
it's actually an email communication here.
Yeah, I saw it
So,
later in the day.
Probably wanna read that. So the second page actually just highlights what's in the gravel removal permit to address number 4.
it's pretty much the response, if you agree to that, then they're okay with it.
Yeah, but what documents are referencing? That's what I don't understand.
If you look on the last page, it's agreed to do this.
No, I saw that, yeah.
I think
About
Dave,
permission.
I think town council's gonna make a license up,
That's okay.
but I don't think it's,
I
the
don't know.
earth removal.
Yeah, this is, I don't know what this document is. Is this part of the PNS? I assume it is.
The back one, that's actually the gravel removal permit.
The back one is?
Yeah, the second page, which is second page for me, I guess. This last page looks to be part of the communication between the two attorneys.
Okay.
But the middle page, which has the bullet items, that's the actual page out of the gravel removal permit.
Okay. Yes, okay, so it's definitely the permit. I assume it's all the permit then, right? But that deals with the well. So we can make a motion based on the PNS and based on the gravel permit? That'll grant Bill, that we're okay to vote on the easement off of Dewhurst? A license off of Dewhurst?
Yeah,
I'm not totally up to speed.
that's the
on
one
this.
the motion.
Yeah, that's
It's unfair.
Yeah, it would really be unfair to you.
I don't know.
Yeah, this is like, we hope this is the end of this, but.
Yeah.
It's only been a couple years in the works.
Yeah, exactly. So we have the earth removal permit and access, whether it be a part of the PNS or the gravel permit, I'm in favor of, Jack. For the license and for the
Allowing,
bullet items,
Yes,
okay.
okay, all in favor?
aye,
Aye,
abstain.
Abstain.
yeah, that's fine.
And you're okay with someone else being able to,
Yep. Yep.
so those 3 bullets are okay?
So he could pass that on to someone else if something happened to Bill, and they still could have, it really should be, because it's part of the PNS, you know what I mean, that's his gravel.
Right,
So he has to have access, or whoever he may deem necessary.
okay,
Again, the same thing as, we're talking about it, we're gonna put it in the minutes, we also have to make sure that we file for that permit yearly for the gravel
Yeah.
permit,
Yes, you to us.
as well as insurance and the rest of it, who's overworking the project.
Let's see, 30 or 60 days prior to,
Yeah, I don't remember
So
what it was.
when was it given, remember?
it was given July of this year.
Okay, so,
There's a copy, I think, what a copy?
Yeah.
I have a copy here, but July 14th.
July 14th,
so if I do it at the beginning of every fiscal year, I'll be good.
yes. Yep. Okay. Superintendent's report.
Well, I guess I'm gonna kind of drop down to Pecker Lane. Had a gentleman come in and ask about water and sewer on that in that area, and that's why I gave you guys a copy of actually what he brought in, just to kind of give you a brief overview of what he's looking to do. Number 2, which is a single lot. This is the old paving. Is that Sheehan? Yeah. So apparently somebody's interested in possibly subdividing this lot and developing it. Now the lot across the street, which is numbered as 4 and 3. 3 is a potential. 4 is existing, and they're looking. These 2 lots are serviced right now by Water Services. It's just a 3/4 inch service. Fortunately, we don't have really good records on the 2 services that are in there.
do we know where they come from?
We all, no, it's a good question, Jack. This number 4, I believe it comes off of Gardner Street, because we tried tracing out the line. We hooked onto it because there's an issue with the interior valve, and fortunately we had enough pipe inside. We actually were able to freeze the pipe and put a valve on because we couldn't find an outside shutoff. I couldn't find anything on the road, just sweeped it, just couldn't find it. I don't have any records. So the other house, which is number 1, also has a line going into it, and it looks like it might come off of Main Street, but I'm not sure. I mean, it's closer to Main Street. I'd have to actually hook onto that line and do a little more searching around. The area has quite a bit going on because there was a business out there, so I don't know how easy that's going to be to locate, but we certainly do that. So when the gentleman that came in asked, well, if we were to bring in sewer and water, how would we do that? And I told him that it looked to me like on Main Street there was a structure, as far as sewer is concerned, that he could possibly tie into. I believe there's a manhole right at the bottom of Becker on Main Street. So if you wanted to do sewer, we'd have to engineer it, number 1, and then we would have to look at that plan and determine whether or not it's something that, this is a private thing that he'd want to pay for. Now, it is a
Yeah,
public
yeah.
road.
Yeah,
Pecker Lane's an accepted road?
I believe it is, yeah.
Yeah.
Now the water, by right, we would want a line from end to end if we were to put a water main in there.
right, so you wouldn't have a blockhead.
So we'd be talking about, right now we have an 8-inch unlined main up on Gardner, and this is the 6-inch unlined main, both which are on our CIP. And the 6-inch is set to be upgraded to an 8. and the 8-inch is set to be upgraded to a 12. So in that case, instead of a tapping sleeve and valve, you'd probably be talking about a T with a couple of gates and reducers to get it accepted and ready if this was gonna be an 8-inch line, if it was gonna get put in here. You know, we'd be talking about, you know, some substantial money.
Yeah.
So, you know, just wanted to give you an idea of what the conversation has been. The gentleman was gonna come in tonight, but apparently he couldn't make it. I told him that we'd talk about it, and that if you wanted to put a package together and talk about it a little bit further, or some sort of conceptual plan of what he's thinking about doing. He has contacted the other homeowners, and they are interested in sewer.
How many exactly are there on there?
Yeah, how many lots are there gonna be, just,
I
think
think,
four
I think
lots.
you'd look at 5 lots. Well, I'm sorry, four lots.
You got 4 numbered here, yeah.
Yeah. The one that fronts Main Street, everything comes off of Main Street, is 362. You know, it's got frontage on Main, and then it does come out. That I'm not sure of if that could ever be cut up somehow to give you the frontage. I don't think so. I don't believe it will. So you'd be looking at 4 lots. So he was looking to possibly design a sewer system that would go to the end of the property line, which is pretty close to the end of the property line on this, I think it's 18 Pecker is actually the number, but that number 4 that actually has an existing home on it, and then run down the street and tie into Main Street.
so probably a cross connected with an 8. If you're gonna bring water in, right?
Yeah, it'd be an 8, so it'd be a new 8-inch line. My thought was you'd end up with an 8x8 T down here with triple gate, and then reduced to accept the 6 that's there now, so that when the 8 goes by, it gets upgraded, it has to tie into that. And then up top, if, you know, we do decide to upgrade this to 12,
Yeah. That'd be in place.
that would be in place also, so it'd be the same scenario, except it would be 12.
Has the gentleman indicated he knows that this is on his own?
Yeah?
So one person owns all 4 lots?
No, he's talking about just this piece right here.
Okay.
What do you, no, there's 4 lots here.
Well, right now there are just 2 lots. They can be subdivided to 4.
What number's the 2?
The number 2 that you're looking
Yeah.
at,
the number
which
2.
has the number 1 home that's existing,
Yeah,
okay, and again, these are just numbers for reference.
yeah,
You know, this would be subdivided,
yeah, and then number 3,
and then number 3 is a possible subdivision for number 4.
has he gone to the other boards, get permission?
No, this is all very preliminary, so it's pretty much just the back of a napkin at this point. I just
Yeah.
wanted to let you know what was going on, that's
Yeah.
all.
Yeah,
It would behoove him to see if anybody else would wanna tie into sewer.
And that's what he did. He did approach the homeowner here, and he said he was interested.
Mhm.
So I think what you'd be looking at is 4 connections.
5.
1, 2, 3, 4.
He's
Yeah, cause
got-
the other people on Main Street must be already tied
Yeah,
into
these
sewer.
are,
Yeah.
they're already tied.
Oh, okay,
They're all-
okay, the
they're
other
all
2 down
tabled.
below.
Yeah.
down in that area,
And the ones up top are already tied.
so you'd
Got it.
be running an 8-inch gravity at Pecker, placing them in.
Yeah, like right, exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So you gotta go to the end of the property line.
exactly.
He'd have to put hydrants up there, right?
Yeah, no longer run as a,
I mean, the quick math doesn't come out to me, but I don't know.
okay.
You know, I asked him if his investor,
And does anybody realize, have there any figures been
again,
thrown?
it's very preliminary.
Yeah.
I just thought that I'd let you know. I just wanted to let you know what we had been talking about. I don't know if there's any other way to deal with that. You know, we did talk a little bit about E1s, you know, and a pressure system, but this is a public road. It's not like a private drive.
That's right. And it can be done by gravity.
Right. So right now, currently,
The only other thing is there would be no further expansion there either, there's no capability for further expansion.
Right.
So,
I don't know. What else lots you can get on that? Maybe you can get 2. That's a
That's-
big piece of property.
that's what he came out with.
Yeah.
He
Okay.
was, again, I didn't came up with just 4 lots between the 2 existing lots right now.
I'd be surprised.
Good. That's the other thing, you get 2 lots out of Hill, I'm not sure about
No,
3 and 4, but.
3 and 4, no.
Well, 4's existing, so that,
We'll cut off another one, so he needs like 32,000 square feet for that area. Maybe. But yeah, he's looking at all that. Unless he can share some of the cost of the sewer with them. 4. So I assume the 3/4 main just feeds the 2 residents now. Oh, one resident?
I don't know if they're 2 separate services. We didn't go any further than this particular home because we didn't have any work down in here.
Okay.
So, you know, should really hook onto this and try and trace out and see what we can find.
Sure.
You know, I'm just assuming that just
Yeah.
because it's closer maybe, but you just don't know until you get out there and start poking around and seeing what you can find.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't really know the history of, you know, when that all went in and all that, so.
Okay.
I mean, everything's doable, we need to see whether or not he can actually pull off what he'd like to do.
Deep pockets.
Some of the other things, I guess some day-to-day stuff. I guess I kind of want to give an update on the staff and where they're at, and kind of how they're progressing. Collectively as a group, I think they're doing really well. They're all helping out one another. They're increasing their value as far as licensing and that, and it's helping out with the workload and spreading that out. They're all really even as far as what they bring to the table. They're becoming really efficient, which is nice. There's not a lot of babysitting that has to be done. So I think that's a real bonus to the department that you guys should know. And
For young staff.
yeah, no, they're doing well, and they're, you know, like I said, they're increasing their education and their licensing and that. So it's working out well. Just thought I'd kind of put that out there.
Nice to hear.
Yeah, we will be doing I'll be doing a review on each of them at the end of the year and talking about, you know, where they stand, where I think they should be doing improvements and whatnot. But I just thought that I'd let you know kind of how it's going. That I'm pleased, you know what I mean? Because I don't really, you know, some things that we have to touch base on and stuff like that. Some of it I think is consistency, and I guess I'll lead into. We've talked about this in the past and looking at our rules and regulations and trying to come up with a new Bible, if you will, that we have as a department, and having more of a reference really for sewer installation, water installation, you know, really what the department is looking for on projects, day-to-day stuff. I mean, we've addressed a lot over the years since I've been here, but we never really came up with a, you know, real comprehensive book. You know, what we have on file it's a little older, so I think we should probably look at those things and collectively talk about it and see what we want to do.
Sure. No, makes sense.
Yeah.
It's been a while.
Other projects. We did come up, our water management permit has come up, and I sent that review paperwork in. And essentially, really what they're looking at is they're becoming a little stricter on water withdrawal, and specifically during the high demand summer months, and what we you know, what we're allowed to withdraw. They're trying to attach a stream trigger for the Byfield Dam. In other words, so if we have a situation where, I don't have the permit in front of me, but if we have a situation where the stream falls below a certain flow rate, they want us to start instituting water bans. So what I've done is I've responded that, number one, that stream has nothing to do with the Parker River watershed.
No, no.
Exactly.
So we, you know, I put together a response and sent that in. I haven't received it back, but I had a phone conversation with a couple of the people out of Boston, and they said to put the concerns down, and again, it's just a review of the permit at this point, and then I'm assuming I'm gonna get something back, and we'll have that discussion further, but I thought I'd just bring you up to speed on that.
Sounds like a strange trigger to me.
It is, and that's the first thing, and quite frankly, I went right to my ace in the hole and went to Dick Johnson and asked him about,
Yeah.
you know, some information on what he has and what his recommendation would be, and we both agreed that the Lawrence Dam would be more of an indicator of what's
For us.
going on for us, and that the Parker River, he agreed to. He has no idea why they would even choose that.
Yeah, exactly.
So, so that's where we stand with that, and the rest of it was more of addressing maybe some water conservation efforts on our part. We've obviously done that with the rate structure that we have, and we've seen that has curved things. But maybe bringing in some water saving devices for the ratepayers, that they can maybe take advantage of their aerators and things like that. That would help out.
Shower thing.
Yep, shower, rain gauges, low flow, low flow fixtures for the or low flow adapters for your sinks. And there was also a toilet diverter in there that diverted some of the flow that saved some water. So I asked for a package to get put together, and once I get that, I'll submit it to you guys. And there's obviously a cost associated with that. Might be able to get some grant money to kind of offset that.
That was
So
nice.
it wouldn't be a real burden on the department, and then the ratepayers could take advantage of that.
I know that Georgetown, I forget how much it is, $25, $50, I don't know what it is. It's, if you buy a front loader versus a top loader,
Yep.
cause you use,
Yep, that's out there.
yeah, you can get some grant money from there for that.
Yeah, it's a good, they're almost becoming standard now, but it's
Yeah.
a good,
Yeah,
it's
it runs
definitely
for the pocket thing.
makes a big difference as far as your water use.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is percentage wise off the top of my head, but they do use a lot less water.
Yeah.
That's pretty much all I have, really. We did a small leak today, service leak. It's actually in the Highland Ave project, so we'll deal with that. It's been dealt with, everything's back on. Came in early this morning.
Excellent.
On Center Street, Center and School, on the house be on the left-hand side across from where Kevin put his house.
Mm-hmm.
There seems to be an abundance of water there. Do we have a leak there or anything?
It's a sump pump. Saw it this morning. Is that what you're talking about?
I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
You think it's surface, just pump water?
Yeah, I drove around town this morning, and there's a lot of pumps running from the rain that we had. I know the one you're talking about. It's coming right down the side of the road, just opposite and hitting the
Stone
catch
drain.
basin.
Goes in the stone drain.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's a sump pump.
Yeah.
Down there.
Yeah, there's a black hose you can see coming out.
Yeah, we're not supposed to go to Stone Drain,
It's one of them.
right? Yeah, no,
It's not going to sewer.
Rather the storm drain than the sewer.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nelson Street.
Nelson Street, I've had some activity as far as contractors calling me licensed train layers and asking what would be required to mitigate the issue up there.
Mhm.
But that's it. Our anniversary date is the 26th? 24th.
24th day before Christmas.
Yeah. So I can reach out to the owner this week and ask him where he's at with his process and see if I have an update on that. But I did get some activity as far as
Okay.
trying to deal with it. I told them how we would deal with it, which is what was voted. So,
So we have an update on that. Vote on change of drain layers license renewal.
so a little bit Patty talked about this. Is there a copy of that in the thing?
Have
Yeah.
just handwritten how I want it how we discussed, we wanted it changed, we would like your permission to do that.
Yeah, rather than subcontracting, right?
Number 5, yeah,
Yeah.
and 6, we put it in there also. Spelling's not right.
That's really overread.
No,
Yeah.
number 6 down
Well,
below,
two-
the taps.
Yeah,
done
2
by us.
points,
Okay.
no
That's what's right.
subcontracting, and all tabs will be performed by the town of Groveland.
Okay.
Yeah,
Is that okay?
Jack,
don't make a motion, yes.
second?
Can I just ask why all taps would be done by the department as opposed to,
Discussion.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, we've run into situations where, and I guess I'm open to, a contracted situation where taps are being solved. The only thing that I would prefer if we did them ourselves is it gives us control because we own it. So because we own from the main out to the curb, if there are any issues, it's our fault. It's what we did. If there's a situation where there's a big project and we think that it's going to be more efficient, that a contractor subcontracts that out or they perform the taps and it's more of an inspectional service, I don't really have a problem with that. It's just it needs to be done during the time that we're working.
and I guess. Well, that's more along the lines I'm thinking on, to limit yourself to saying you're the only ones that can do them, but if you've got a larger project going, they may have Prescott come in, do a bunch of taps in
Yep.
one day,
Yep.
move
Yep.
forward.
Yep.
Yeah, we've done that in the past.
Yeah.
And that, it's sizable, you know.
So I really don't have a problem as long as we witness it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's, to me, we need to, it's gotta be inspected by us.
Mhm.
We can't show up and, 8 taps have been done, everything's backfilled and now what?
Yeah, do you dig them up, do you?
Yeah, exactly.
That's expensive.
No, I mean, I would say most of the time that's done during normal working hours,
I would agree.
especially if you got a large project going, they're not there working, as a rule, off hours,
Yeah, well, we've had situations where, it hasn't happened that way,
If you got
unfortunately.
a single contractor in a subdivision, maybe that does happen. But in a public, or a new roadway, or rebuilding of a roadway,
Right.
you know.
So, yeah, I mean, I would definitely be open to that, as long as we make sure that, whether we deal with it in this, or we deal with it in,
Contract.
the what we talked about as far as the Bible for the department, we deal with it that way. I think we just want to make sure that they're inspected. That's all.
Sure.
What about the trench permitting? That was a concern of ours too, because now we have to put, it doesn't cost the contractor to have a trench permit, but we have to have one. And if we're not in charge of it, is that gonna make a difference? Like, who gives them the trench permit? And if that was one of our problems. If the hole's open, who's responsible for it, and how do we?
Well, right now, yeah. I mean, by default, any work for water and sewer, the trench permit's pulled out of here. But the highway commissioner is the one that issues them, and they go on file in that office, and we keep a copy here.
Are they billing for, is there a fee for a
I
trench
don't believe
permit?
there
No.
is.
No?
I don't believe they're charging for that. I know we don't, and I don't believe Bob does either.
Yeah.
So, I think it's more of keeping up with state regulations that they are permitted,
Sure.
and it's on file that there's
What
work.
about if it's on private property, like sewer repair or something? Do they come here for a trench permit for that?
Well, anything that has to be done, any work on the utility should come through the department. So, yeah, it would have to be permitted. Every trench is supposed to be
Right, it's
permanent.
supposed to be permanent, that's what I'm saying, I'm just wondering, you know, if Bob does the street side of it, do you get into the private, on the private property?
Yeah, because if there's, well, emergency work doesn't.
Well, within 12 hours or reasonable time span,
Right.
there should still be a permit taken.
Yeah. It's kind of, more often than not, it's a new application.
Okay.
That's the way that it's being handled right now.
Mhm.
So if there's some sort of emergency work or, you know, anything that would be planned, you know, would be, but emergency, no, we haven't been permitting that.
Question.
How often does that happen?
Not that much.
No, I was gonna say, yeah.
I mean, the emergency stuff really we're dealing with is a main break.
Yeah.
And it's done right then and there, and it's pretty much over at that point, but I mean, that's how the protocol's been going.
How many drain layers do we presently have licenses in Groveland?
We got 11 or something.
Less than 20. It varies per year depending if they got work.
My question is the fee for a year's permit, is it too low?
We could certainly look at all the fees. I think we should really look at the sewer tie-in fees,
Yeah,
Absolutely.
you know, but I think we need to do an assessment on that probably before we come to a number.
okay, perhaps we can have it for the next meeting?
Sure.
Beautiful.
So
Okay.
actually, do you wanna make any changes other than 5 and 6?
Pat?
That's the only thing, if you don't wanna put 6 in there and leave that up to the discretion of Tom, it's totally up to you guys.
Or we put a caveat that says, or inspected by the town, one of the two.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
Just add the language to it.
Exactly.
But you would inform us that the developer's gonna do his own taps.
Yeah, and again, you know, I mean, I agree. I mean, if you got there's not a lot of big projects here in town. You know, the majority of it we can deal with. But you know, if you did have a real big project come in, and it's going to be, you know,
Well, my problem with, as per inspection,
Excuse me.
we get a fee, the water department gets a fee for that, correct?
a couple of
Wanted
fees.
to
Yeah.
say welcome back.
Oh, thank you.
Thanks for volunteering.
Yeah,
Okay,
thank you, Nancy.
we charge a fee, right, I mean, we're just.
We do, and I think we should look at that fee also. To be honest
Okay,
with you.
good,
But
I think those are all the fees we're talking about.
yeah, we should look at all the fees.
okay, good,
And we actually talked about a fire service fee at one point
Yeah.
too. We really didn't do any homework on at this point, but we should.
Okay. So,
Um,
make a motion to accept 5 and 6 and add in the language or inspected by the water department.
so moved,
Seconded.
All in favor?
aye.
What is to work? Aye.
Aye,
There you go.
aye.
Usually my thing, what's the two?
That's it.
Yeah.
Aye, work.
That we need to talk about. Talked about bringing Ryan in,
Yeah, we did.
Ryan and Victor,
Yeah.
and just to talk about that work and
You're right.
how we may want to approach it.
We'd like to have Ryan involved.
Okay.
After the first of the year,
Yeah, we can do that.
Yeah.
Want me to have him in for the next meeting?
we're gonna have a lot of things at the next meeting,
Okay.
the fees we're gonna have battle royal,
It is something though that if we're gonna, you know,
You gotta start thinking about it very quickly.
because the ground, you know, we're something we want to do in the spring.
Yeah,
What is
exactly.
this?
so we can hold off.
It's infiltration study,
Yeah.
Yeah.
the sewer system.
See if we can reduce some of the flow rates
Mhm.
in the obvious areas anyways. But, Brian worked with us on the tank. He did a great job. He was certainly an asset.
Yeah, I think he'd probably bring Victor Olson in, that's his specialty.
Yeah. Good.
And we could probably roll that into the CIP. We can roll those two together.
Yeah.
I know we come up with a bit of a short list.
We have a short list,
We do,
unfortunately.
with a big number.
Short list has got a big number attached to it, Thomas. Yeah. Okay. Updates, 97?
I don't have any updates at this point,
Okay.
except that I believe it's still set for the spring.
It's going to start this April.
I believe it's set to go out to bid anyways.
Oh, okay.
So,
We
I
don't-
know, Bob told me, Mass DOT was in here a couple of weeks ago, maybe right before our last meeting. I didn't have a conversation with him, but I can check with Bob on where the project stands as far as the timeline.
Let's look at some hydrants, we wanna repair or replace at the same time? Or-
They've included that work,
They have,
yeah.
okay.
So any hydrants that are within the scope that they are going to be relocating will be included in the work.
Okay.
Okay.
That's
And
good.
the others, we've been replacing.
Okay.
You know, part of that scope, do we wanna look at some sort of crossing on School Street between Center Street and School? You know, with a sewer, whether it's a pressure sewer or whether it's a gravity sewer. So that there's some sort of pipe in the ground or a sleeve, I
For
mean,
future references.
for
right?
future use. Cause if you are gonna try to get over to that side of town, that's when you'd wanna do it.
Yeah.
Mm.
Is that on your CIP?
That's a whole different, that's on the town's master plan.
There you go.
How many years does that go? My gosh.
Okay, SD Park, Trust Development?
Yep, I got a communication from the engineer, about some of the activities that are going on over there regarding storage of, fertilizers and bulk storage of fuel and things like that. Because, there is a small portion of it that is within, zone 2. Believe it or not, there's not a lot of the project that's in zone 2. It's just the front building. It was a very well-written letter and explaining of the activities that are going on over there and any kind of concerns that we might have. I will get a response back. I think the only thing that really came out in my mind was bulk storage of fuel and making sure that it has containment, which they did address in the letter. Outside of that, everything, really the majority of the project is outside of zone 2.
Are you talking tanks of oil or?
I think they listed a 55-gallon drum. Stick it here. I did. The consultant put together a whole Excel spreadsheet showing, you can pass that around so if you guys wanna take a look at it. You know, I noted it right away, containment needed, and then we had already addressed it with this follow-up. Fertilizer. And then a map, basically, take a look at that. Map showing what he's done, essentially, according to him, decreasing the actual square footage of building that's out there. I think it's in question, I think he may have put up a building out there or something like that, if he took one down and put one up. And I think it was,
Here's the front here. He took this down here.
where's the front building?
Right here.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So this building here, I would have liked him to overlay the zone 2, so I may ask him to do that.
Mhm.
Have the consultant actually overlay the zone 2 so we know.
Yeah.
what is encompassed, what buildings are in that. So that'll be in my response.
That's a maintenance area, I believe, over there.
Yeah, and when he lists it,
Yeah, that's his maintenance for the property.
102. Okay, right here. So this is the money spot, if you will. I believe anything after this is out of zone 2. But that's just from what the consultant has conveyed, and just from looking at the map, it's hard for me to say because it's not overlaid onto this.
You should do that.
So if he can overlay that on here, I think that would help, so that we can better define it. But this was probably the biggest thing that stuck out in my mind. And he has a whole itinerary of what he's going to do for all his leases and addressing MSDS sheets.
Why does it need to store 50 gallons of gasoline and diesel outside?
I don't know. But these are the policies that he's come up with.
I'm sure for his off-road equipment, lifts and everything, he's got them done.
And now, the other thing that bothered me is that in all the rest of the buildings that people are in, there's more gasoline that's gonna be stored on that site, other than that building.
Yep. As far as the bulk storage and containment, you can do like we've addressed in other areas where we've had some sort of an alarm system on there. And, let you know if you have a leak. It's not going to be as big.
Other than this building, Tom, has he indicated all of, or is it just storage, or do they have water? Do they have restrooms, what do they have?
No, at this point there is an outbuilding that has water, which is the sawmill, Pat? Which one? Remember?
I don't remember.
We have two accounts,
We
I
have two
believe.
accounts on that property.
Which this building here,
Yeah.
outside of the activities that are going on here, he still needs to address the fact that he now has sprinkled this building with the main line that comes in. He will need a new water service to service the building. Right now, he's currently tapped off the fire line, which, it was existing, but it was never a full-blown fire suppression system in the building. So now that it is, he's gonna have to bring in a tap off the main, and I'm assuming with all the work that he's done out front, unless he sleeved this, because we did have a conversation about it, I'm assuming he's gonna wanna come out on the side here and come into this corner of the building. He has this all built up
Was
and
it a
finished.
2-inch?
No, he just set a 3/4 line to service the building.
That's all.
That's all that was coming off the main that was running through the building.
He had a couple small bathrooms
Yeah,
over there.
really not much. Because it's something new, I'd recommend a 1-inch line, just come in with a 1-inch line.
This here is gonna be, something else that's gonna use a lot of water.
Well, there's future plans, but
I would think a 1-inch line would be sufficient, but I don't know what he's got going on in there.
You should ask him about water
He's got a
use.
thought process for the other side, for whatever he's gonna do, so.
Yeah, that's totally different.
I know.
Whether he's gonna,
Yeah.
this was more or less just a communication about what he's got going on right now. We do have a plan that really, I don't even wanna call it a plan, it was more of a drawing of, this is what I'd like to do as a phased out portion of developing the whole property as a whole.
Yeah. He's been back and forth with zoning board, I think they stopped him, and, there's some stuff that, wasn't, they didn't even know, actually the square footage of the buildings was screwed up, there was a lot of mistakes, I guess. So, I think they squared that all the way.
I can, what I can do is I can scan this and get this out. And if you guys want, you can review it. I thought it was I thought it hit everything as far as MSDS, what policies he's gonna put into his leases. If we think we need to, comment on additional language,
I'm concerned about the oils and the fertilizers.
well, I think he has to address that because of the aquifer protection
Yes.
bylaw,
yes.
so, and he's doing that. So,
Yeah, he has to.
he's given us a list of what's going on there.
It's not nitrate based anyways.
It was obviously, somebody brought it to the attention, so.
Good enough.
So, the leads?
They're right there on the table.
There's one,
Yeah, it's 2 copies of it, but there's one, I didn't put Mr. Danforth's
sign
name on
it,
it,
I'll sign it
because
when I
I
go
figured
in,
you
so.
didn't wanna get involved quite yet.
exactly.
Yeah, that's okay. I can get it. Okay, the next meeting?
I have this letter, I really don't know why I have to do it, but, he's putting in a 2-lot subdivision now, and I guess when he goes to, put the plans in, they ask if there's any liens on the property. So I don't, he doesn't owe anything, but he was trying to file his planning board stuff at the registry of deeds, and he was told that,
That's all
Civil
right,
stuff.
civil stuff.
and he's not putting in water or sewer, so his own home has water, but. So I put it as of this date, so that would cover anything in the future. I've never heard of it, but,
I don't know why he doesn't wanna put in a water service on it.
mm,
I think it's I believe it's just a private drive. So we did have a
Oh, yeah.
conversation about whether or not he wanted to put meter pits out by the roadway and bring in services, but he said he wants to put it out.
I told you if he was within a certain distance to the main,
He
he
had
had to
to.
put in, you gotta connect to the city well.
Isn't that a board of
Town
health?
well.
That was a board of
I
health.
can research it.
Well, I know it's there for sewage. If you're
Right.
within a certain footage,
Yeah.
you have to tie
If
into
it's
it.
going by, you have to.
Yeah, it's available. That's a
Water's
Title
not the
V
same?
thing, isn't it?
Right.
Water's not the same?
I can check what we have on file.
I didn't think it was.
I'm not sure.
I
But-
check with
but
Laurie
the
and
main is,
Nothing that I know of.
Board of Health.
the main's not a good main,
Yeah,
that's the
'cause I think you
problem.
guys got it that, certain footage.
Yeah, well, the main,
Can't recall back there.
That's why.
Yeah, we read that back, come on.
the
No, I
issue
don't
was,
recall anything.
the issue was if he was gonna put
It's
in,
a piggyback service.
a new main.
Things of that nature.
Correct.
We just-
if he was gonna put in a road, then the fact of a new main, he would have to be doing off-site improvements.
That's why he said no.
Similar to, but he's not putting in a road.
He wanted to put 2 separate services up the hill instead of a water main.
You know, he's been back and forth with the
Yep.
property.
Yeah.
One house, 2 houses, 3 houses.
Right, so now I think he's to the point where it's just a private drive and 2 homes. So it's not gonna be a road. So at that point, I don't know that we would have any issue with the fact that he wants to put in 2 water services with
I mean,
But you
that's
said-
at the
you
bottom.
said-
meter
go to
pits at the
well.
bottom.
No, no.
You said he's going well.
He did, yeah.
Yeah.
Even with a bad main,
Yeah, that doesn't happen. That's not
Not
a,
get changed over anyways.
yeah.
You can check into the Board of Health whether there's provisions in there, drain to water and sewer.
thank you, Jim.
I know there's one of them that failed, system failed, you know, within a certain,
That's
Just block
next
him a
week.
candle, I don't know, you can't see the candle.
Definitely on the
Just
sewer,
the
I
road,
know there's
we
something,
got
I don't know exactly what the language is, because I
Yeah,
reviewed it
yeah.
a while, but the water. I'm
Next
not
month,
too
next,
sure of. I don't really believe
next
so.
year?
Next year,
Wow.
okay.
probably
Have a calendar.
closer to the beginning.
What do you want? Date?
Yeah, next year.
Next
Good
year.
January 5th, 12th, 19th, 26th.
It's your pleasure, gentlemen.
Name me poison.
There's a calendar? That is a,
5th is a Monday, they'll all be Mondays, so it'll be the 5th, the 12th, the 19th, or the 26th.
I think 5th or 12th would work for me.
Okay,
Oh, yeah, okay.
fine.
Let's do the 5th.
Okay.
Okay, January 5th, our next meeting.
For time.
3:30?
4:30, how's it?
Yeah. You guys are pushing me.
What'd you say?
3:30?
3:30.
4 o'clock?
Yeah.
Before it was us pushing Bruce.
It's like we are, because we're always late. Oh.
Wow, Jimmy, now you're.
I know, unbelievable, Tom.
How the worm turns.
It does. I'll make a concerted effort, we'll see how it goes.
4
Okay.
p.m.
January 5th.
Okay.
We could, start hopping on the budget.
I know. Exactly.
You got a what?
Start hopping on the
Get
budget.
a hop on it.
Yes, we do.
Okay. Make a motion to close the meeting?
Yep,
We're
are we gonna
done.
go in with, remember into this big question?
He's all set.
That's what I know of.
Okay, beautiful,
He already is an employee,
You're not there anymore.
cause he's,
okay.
are you the assistant? Yeah, so he's all set,
Excellent.
Okay,
Oh,
yeah.
Motion to adjourn.
so moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
You like this, don't you, Tom?